Today, we're talking about The Departed, Martin Scorsese's most critically acclaimed movie he's ever made. It won Oscars for Best Directing, Best Picture, Best Editing, and even Mark Wahlberg got a nomination, which is something seems impossible today.
You know what we do here? My section.
Sir, yes, sir, I have an idea.
Whoa. Let's say you have no idea and leave it at that, okay? If we had an idea about what we do, we would not be good at what we do, would we? We would be c***s.
It's not my favorite, and I'm not even sure I can make a case for it being a top 3 Scorsese movie. In fact, I would say Raging Bull, Wolf of Wall Street, Goodfellas, Taxi Driver all could be above this film. And that's not to say it's not great. I think this is a great movie. There's a lot that it's doing incredibly well. The problem with it, I think, from the get-go, it's just moving. Obviously, you have big picture stuff and small intimate moments of the film, editing-wise. And I think the biggest issue I have with it is with its Academy Award-winning editing. There is the big picture stuff, which is the 3 main subplots with Leonardo DiCaprio and him infiltrating this mafia as an informant for the cops. You have Matt Damon, who's a part of the mafia, who's an informant for them from the cops. And then, of course, you have Jack Nicholson being in the mafia, who's also an informant for the FBI. So you have these main 3 plots, and the movie's constantly cutting between them. The biggest problem, though, I think, is in the smaller moments. The editing in the scene-to-scene basis can be very fast and uncomfortable for my eyes. There's scenes that have such quick editing where there are shots that last half a second, and I just don't register them properly, and it makes for a jumbled, messy sequence.
Frankie! Your mother forgives me.
You have Leonardo DiCaprio, who is an informant for the cops, going undercover in the mob, so he's a two-faced guy there. He's informing on these people who he's slowly becoming a part of. Then you have Jack Nicholson, who is an informant for the FBI. You have Matt Damon, who's an informant for the mob. Everybody's playing some kind of character, a two-faced version of themselves. And in the end, everybody dies, which is why it's called The Departed, which is another big element of the movie. Trust and choices. Trust, though, is one of the elements that ultimately kind of defines how these characters end up. Because Vera Farmiga, Vera Farmiga's character and Mark Wahlberg's character are really the only 2 main characters who don't end up departed. They are living life post this movie, because they are the only people in this who aren't really putting on a show. Vera Farmiga, oh my lord, I can't say her name. It's not that hard. Vera Farmiga, admittedly, Vera Farmiga's character does have an affair with Leo, so there is some kind of two-facery going on, but she's probably, aside from Mark Wahlberg, the only character in this movie who can identify when people are being horrible liars. There's an awesome moment when Matt Damon sees a picture of her as a kid, and he's like, we're not putting that in the house. Yeah, he tries to make kind of a show out of it, charming guy, but really, he seems mildly embarrassed by that picture, or maybe her to an extent. And then, in the next scene, Leo sees that picture, and he puts it up on the wall, like, look how great this is. And so she can identify the underlying person that Leo is. They have a horrible, horrible introduction.
And a guy comes in here against every instinct of privacy, of self-reliance that he has, and what do? What do you do, huh? You send him off on the street to score smack? Is that what you do?
It's a great sequence, but she identifies who he is under that pretense. And so she survives. Mark Wahlberg also does this by murdering Matt Damon, which is awesome. So there's a lot going on with the characters and the thematics here, but the performances are what really drive it home. The filmmaking is good, while I think the editing is not my favorite. The performances are what is incredible here. Jack Nicholson is so frightening. He's seedy, he's gross, he's disgusting, he's terrifying. Leo is constantly on the edge of a break, and he's playing it so manic. He's awesome. Even Matt Damon, who is the most dry, boring guy around, delivers a pretty good, smarmy, charming, cocky performance that I enjoyed. Mark Wahlberg is great. Vera Farmiga is great. Martin Sheen is great. Even Alec Baldwin. This is a stacked cast, and everybody is great in it. It's just one of those movies that you kind of have to experience. It's hard to put into words. It's hard to quantify how I feel about it, because I think there's so much here that's great. The first and second act do a good job of leading into an awesome third act and building the tension and the stakes, but something just didn't connect.
I'm not the f***ing rat.
Start with you agree there is a rat.
You said there is one, all right? I base most of what I do on the idea that you're pretty f***ing good at what you do.
I mostly love it, but there's just a few things that just don't click for some reason. I don't know why. But next week, we're going to watch an all-time classic, one of the few movies with a 100 on Metacritic, an incredibly rare feat. But it has 3 Academy Award wins for Best Picture, Best Directing, and Best Writing. You may know it. Casablanca, or Casablanca. I don't know how to really pronounce it, but I think it's Casablanca. Never seen it. Always meant to. Looks great. Let's check it out next week.